Dopamine swipe, dopamine swipe. Followers, likes, double tap. Now they control your life, control your life. Dopamine
Cool.
swipe.
Well, thank you for coming on.
We're giving one to everyone who we're interviewing because it's, part of the pod.
Awesome. I just wanted to say hi. These are my 3 daughters.
You're currently
2 or 3.
We can't see you, but we heard them. What's up, people? What's up?
You say hi, guys.
Hi.
So you guys made me cool, Dad, when you threw out a mention to the guy in the golf shorts at the Lou Palooza.
Yeah, you're out rallying.
So they kind of keep up with the 817 podcast.
Middle of the crowd turning up. I'm not lying. You're leading the pack.
It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, thanks for having me on. I don't know what you guys wanted to start off with. Just how I heard about you, or
Yeah, so we're asking everybody 3 questions. Just how'd you hear about us? What do you enjoy about the pod? And what's something you're excited about in Fort Worth?
Cool. Well, so oddly enough, one of my friends from high school, a guy named Britton Payne, he and another guy they were talking about starting a podcast last year, and so I was talking to Britton. I'm like, yeah, you going to do this thing? And he's like, yeah, I think we're going to do it. And at one point he's like, damn, he goes, someone just launched an 817 podcast. And so he was a little bit deflated because you guys beat him to the punch. But they went ahead and launched their deal. It's I
think it's Fortitude guys.
Fortitude.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Fortitude. Yeah. Yeah. So they got a little bit different format than you guys. So I'm a loyal listener to both y'all's and
awesome
and to his. Yeah. So I won't tell you which one's my favorite, but
Hey, you're friends with Brent, not us. So hey, that's something you got to deal with.
No, man. He's got to up his game. That's all.
But
yeah.
So yeah,
that's how I heard it.
So why you like this pod? I mean, I believe I don't know if you want to tell a little bit about yourself and your history in Fort Worth, but what's the stickiness about our pod that you like?
I just think you guys have a more of an everyman's perspective, looking at the pluses and the minuses of Fort Worth, right? Either your coverage of local politics or other issues that the city is facing. I honestly, we all kind of follow the things that, people that I would say have similar viewpoints. To be honest, I mean, I most of the time I'm, in agreement with, y'all's opinions. And especially for, 2 guys that haven't been here for, decades or anything, you guys have a pretty good, feel of what's going on in Fort Worth. And so, yeah, I like to hear your perspectives. You guys have brought a lot of people on that I either know and or, kind of follow. And you also, you bring things to my attention that I'm not aware of, right? Like Lou Charles, hadn't really heard of the guy, and that's probably my bad. But, gave me the opportunity to go out there and, listen to him and some of the other people that were at the show. And it was awesome. Right. So, I just kind of looked at you guys as kind of keep staying current with things that are going on because you guys are on top of it and, just new things. So that's why I listen to you guys.
What's your Fort Worth? Well, like what are you excited for Fort Worth and the future of the city?
I'd tell you there are a couple things, and this is like one of the most important things to me. It's because I actually kind of have a very short platform to mention, some of the groups that I think are making, real change in Fort Worth. And the first is Leadership ISD. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but I was in the 2018, 2019 class. And that's where I got to meet Jared Williams, Jared. And so Jared and I are very good friends. And we were out there after Tatiana was shot, and we were marching, and we were at City Hall, and the story I like to tell is I was standing there amongst hundreds of people. Jared's right next to me, and some other good friends, and I was like, man, one of us got to run, and Jared was stupid enough to listen to me, so. We literally opened a bank account in July of last year to start his campaign and worked on it for a full year. And then we won by it was like 307 votes.
You guys pulled it off.
It was just insane. Yeah. And we were outspent like 400,000 to like 70,000. So,
yeah.
But that's what it takes to make change in Fort Worth. And so getting back to Leadership ISD, I mean, just like clicking off the people that either have run for office or are in office that either went through Leadership ISD or were part of it. You got Jared, you have Quentin Phillips, Roxanne Martinez, CJ Evans, Daphne Brookins, Sean Lassiter ran for the congressional office of the 6th, I think it was.
Yep.
And then Cinta Ramos is part of Leadership ISD now, and he's on the board of trustees as well. So, I mean, one organization that literally has been here, I would say 5 years now. I mean, turning out that many candidates and not to mention all the other change makers that aren't running for office, but are really active and trying to make Fort Worth a better place. So Leadership ISD, I can't say enough about. And then the second group, which I actually have been involved with even longer than Leadership ISD, is Community Frontline. Mm-hmm. So I know I talked to Dante Williams, who's the president, and I was like, hey, is it all right if I mention you guys on this podcast? And he was like, oh, you talking about EJ? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, he's in my class, right? And so, yeah, so now I know that you and Dante know each other. But, I mean, that's, if you guys ever get a chance to, bring, 2 or 3 or 4 of those guys on, Quentin Phillips, again, he's part of that founding group, Dante, Frank Moss Jr. And I'm gonna forget Derek's last name, but Derek's the other guy. That was one of the founding members, along with AJ, Jonathan Morrison. But great guys, man. And like during the pandemic, they were, helping, make sure that, tenants had the ability to apply for rent. Me and another group of volunteers were out like buying groceries for people and delivering them to their house, because they had COVID or had lost their jobs and stuff like that. But you're talking about a group that has the best interest of Fort Worth and huge, amount of heart. Community Frontline is just fantastic. So those are probably my 2 big, most, I would say, just the most important groups that I think that are in Fort Worth make a change that I'm excited about.
I would love to know your. We talk a lot about education and on the Fort Worth pod, right? At the 817 pod. What is, we heard your daughters. So how, as a parent, how do you navigate being a parent in Fort Worth and the education system that we have?
Yeah, well, you're in the business, right? I mean, so it's a complex problem, and you can't really separate out education from the things that our society is not doing well, and so when you see the outcomes in a lot of our schools, I mean, it's not that we have bad schools and bad teachers. It's that we've got a society that's not paying attention to our kids before they even get to school.
Yeah.
And so they show up, wholly unprepared. And then we've got a lot of work to do. Right. If we took, I think, early childhood, health and wellness, and we looked at, what we're doing to help parents to give them time to teach their kids, and also giving the parents the tools to do that job, right? Because that's your first teacher is the parent. So, I know the parent engagement project that is being launched this year with Marta Plata, another unbelievable person. Hopefully that will have an impact, but it's got to be sustained, and they've got to have the tools to reach out to those parents, right? So Parent University is kind of her main tool to do that. And I hope that Fort Worth ISD continues to back that and push it as hard as it can, because that will change lives.
Yeah,
for sure.
Cool.
As a parent, we don't have too much trouble navigating it. We're blessed to be, fairly well off, and we had good educations and strong, stable homes and stuff like that. And so, our kids are in good shape. Fort Worth ISD does a great job with them. They provide everything that they need. It's the people that are starting out with less than that, that we've got to figure out how to get those people up to speed and those kids up to speed to where they enter ready to learn.
Yeah.
So,
well, Kent, thanks for coming on, and maybe next time I see you, we can have a conversation rather than scream callbacks with Lou Charles. So next time we could actually have a conversation.
Yeah, I would love to. One more plug, and this is going to be selfish. It's for me, but a good friend of mine and old business partner. We're starting something called Funky Town Farms. It's going to be about youth development and youth leadership.
Awesome.
And we're launching that. Hopefully, we'll be having a cohort of kids in the spring of next year. But that's cool. It's something that we're kind of modeling after Urban Roots, which is in Austin, and the Food Project, which is out of Boston. But just Funky Town Farms. Look for it on the horizon. And nice. Man, if we could get coffee, I would love to just chop it up a little bit and talk about other things and what you guys are up to outside of the podcast.
Sounds dope.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Thanks for your time today.
All right.
Take care, brother.
Have a good Sunday.
You too.
All right, later. Bye.
Hello there. I'm Ben.
What's up, Ben?
Can you hear the applause?
Oh, yes. Thank you.
How's it going?
I'm honored.
Good. I'm glad.
Going good. Cloudy day today, so we were able to keep the kids outside for a little bit before it got offensively hot.
Yep. I went outside. Isla wanted to go for a walk, and the moment I walked outside, I was just like dripping in sweat. I was like, oh, humidity has got me in already.
Yeah. The other day, it was like, I was like, oh man, it's got to be like upper 80s by now. And I looked at my phone and it was 78. Like I grew up in Houston. It's not even humid here, but I'm ready for this fall they talk about.
Are you like one of those proud Houstonites? Like you're like Houston, like strong, or are you like, I'm glad I left?
I'm glad I left, but I still keep track of the Rockets and the Astros before they cheated. That was it's not fun when your childhood team wins a World Series, and that was really fun. And then they cheated, and you have to like hide your shirts.
Well, I know we only got like 8 minutes, so I definitely want to get your take on some stuff. So we have 3 simple questions. Yeah. We have 3 simple questions. How'd you hear about the pod? What do you like about the pod? And then what's your excitement for Fort Worth? So you can just go ahead and jam, tell a little bit about you, how you heard about the pod, and what excites you about Fort Worth.
Yeah, I heard about it because my friend Jimmy Sweeney is one of the co-hosts of Yes, I try to make that noise for him every day. So I have thought for a while that Fort Worth needed something like this, and it had searched for local podcasts before, but that I didn't see it. So I was happy that it existed. And then y'all's election coverage was very formative for me, because mayors are all into sound bites, and it's because they're not affiliated with political parties. It's hard to really drill down what they're about, and really listening to your long form interviews with them really that actually tipped where I voted. So I appreciated that. And also because of the podcast, I'm a subscriber to the Star Telegram because I was feeling FOMO. So y'all kept talking about it. So, yeah. So I appreciate that y'all tuned me into a local election for the first time. And I felt more informed than my friends and told a few people who to vote for.
Awesome. Who'd you vote for?
And Zeta.
Gotcha. 817's like that. We're the only people who voted for Ann Zeta, but we did it together.
Well, and that goes into like what my like aspirations for Fort Worth. I voted for her because I want Fort Worth to be an arts town, and I felt she had the best understanding of what it takes, top to bottom, not just like let's bring in things for tourist dollars, but like we need entry point amateur opportunities. We need like semi-professional opportunities and like space for people to perform. So like I'm from, I've spent some time in Chicago doing comedy and theater, and like there were like cheap black box theaters that you could rent and just like put up a show. I don't know where someone would do that here.
Wow.
But there's great arts here, and I just I guess my aspiration for Fort Worth is that people would show up to the great art that we have, Jimmy's independent theater that he has. It's so weird. It's like if this was in other cities, it would be full during non-COVID times. And thinking about like amphibian theater, going to like great shows, and there's like empty seats, or like they've got that comedy residency where they bring in national comics to workshop materials, and it's so cool. And like if you like plop that into Chicago or New York or LA, it would sell out in minutes. So yeah, I guess that's my hope for
could it be
Fort Worth.
Could the issue be density, being that like, I don't know, do people want to drive? Like, I guess the drive, maybe like compared to like in Chicago, New York, it's like, oh, this little shindig's happening down the street. Yeah, I'll walk or take the subway to check it out. Or do y'all don't think that's the problem? What do you think's the reason why it's not like that?
I do not know. I mean, if you live within 820, everything's 15, 20 minutes away. I don't know. It's like people are trained to go to restaurants, and like trained to go see Hamilton when it's in town. Like that's sold out. But I think people don't think like, oh, I can go see a theater show, or I can go, see improv. I think it's just people don't know that that's something that you can go do and enjoy. But like when I went to go see Babette's Feast at Amphibian Theater, like the audience was just loving it so much, and that was a packed house. And I think when people go, they enjoy it.
Absolutely.
But I think just expanding the things, like you don't just have to go to a restaurant, or you don't just have to go see the latest Marvel movie, but there's like at least four professional theater companies here that you can go check out. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the culture is almost trained to, like you said, like what's coming to Bass Hall, and like, that 4-day weekend exists. But, we went to Aparna Nancherla at Amphibian, who's an incredible comic and incredible writer. And I think, did you go to that with us?
I did not.
Okay. I think we must have gone with the Howards. But yeah, it's like
the Howard sounds like a TV show.
Maybe it could be. But it was like half full, with an incredible talent, coming in and doing that. And they're doing that all the time. So I agree with you, both from a personal gain perspective, but also from wanting to see the city elevated from top to bottom in that area. I would love that too.
and one cool thing was I got to go see the I forgot what it's called, but when they lit up the Will Rogers Tower the other night.
Yeah.
And had that like art show from 9 to 1 a.m. They just had all these like projections on the walls and like used the whole space. You like walked into a parking garage and they had stuff below ground and it was all projected and it was at night and a lot of it was really meaningful, but the Arts Council really pushed it and a huge crowd showed up. So that was really hopeful and exciting to just see people enjoying something that wasn't that was outside the Fort Worth box. Like it wasn't in the walls of a museum. It wasn't, those trained things we talked about. Like it was kind of weird and people showed up. So that was really exciting.
Yeah.
That's
super
awesome.
cool.
Yeah. I'm glad you got to go to that. We were not going to make it up late enough to make it happen.
Well, Ben, I
got the earliest tickets.
Well, Ben, definitely appreciate you being a listener and sharing your time with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. Thanks for making this great podcast. Bye.
Hey guys, let me get this thing going.
Wow,
how are you?
You got your Sunday shirt on. You ready to go? Rock out?
Ready to rock? Yeah. Well, I actually have a baptism. That's why I had to move it earlier.
Oh, okay.
Initially, the whole managing the calendar thing. So yeah, I got some fun happening later on. So exciting.
Awesome. Well, it's good to see you a second time because I know we connected after you connected on the about the pod. Basically, how we're doing these, we're asking 3 simple questions, and then wherever we go, we go. But the first question is, how'd you hear about the pod? What do you like about the pod, and what are you excited for Fort Worth?
Awesome. Very cool. Very cool. Good to see you guys. Jimmy, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Hey, Dave. Yeah, good to see you. It's I'll be. I didn't make it to that Leadership Fort Worth deal, but I'll be around, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, excited to connect in person.
For sure. So how did I hear about the pod? So, and I think maybe I had shared this story, but kind of I had got into Leadership Fort Worth and, longer story than that, but it just started getting, very involved in the community and was just looking for more information, like, just really trying to find some stuff. And like a lot of people nowadays, I think podcasts are where we go and literally searching Fort Worth, right? And then you guys came up and I listened to, I don't remember what the first episode was, but I was kind of hooked right after that. And I think that's when I reached out to LinkedIn, listened to a few in a row, and then after that, just kind of waited for it to come on. So literally was just searching, like, what could I find on Fort Worth? And at the time, it wasn't too many. Now I think you guys talked about this recently, how there's, it's blown up a little bit, a lot more options, but at the time there wasn't a ton. And like I said, listened to that first episode, and I was hooked. It was awesome. Reached out to you guys and just gave my thumbs up for whatever it was worth. So.
Awesome. So what makes you excited about Fort Worth? I mean, you did the Leadership Fort Worth. I know you were searching about the city. What makes you excited? What do you look forward to in the city?
I just think it's such an exciting time, and you guys hit on it, quite a bit, but it really is just, it feels like, hopefully coming out of, COVID and this pandemic, a lot of pent up energy of a lot of people looking to just continue to evolve. And there's just so many options out there, right? I know you guys talk a lot about, the business side of it, the entrepreneurial side of it, really exciting stuff happening. Change in terms of leadership, right? With kind of Maddie getting on and kind of others, just a really young council. And again, you guys, people like Cameron, just driving that conversation and that innovation. And then, through my Leadership Fort Worth board role, through board role, through the stuff I do at TCU, it just feels like it's a really, really exciting time. And again, that to your point can go a lot of different directions in terms of which topic you want to take it to. But I am really excited about I'll say the evolution and innovation coming.
Yeah. Do you feel what is your do you have I love the optimism. We're all, I think, if you're an 817 podcaster, and you definitely an optimist on you're excited about it. But what do you feel like the Achilles heel? What are you concerned about in the city that maybe prevents us from being the vision we all have for the city?
Yeah, I don't even know, honestly, if I feel like it's necessarily preventing more than I think we're moving. I do, like I said, we just had our Leadership Forward, the board retreat, and so much focus on, again, both the growth and kind of, I feel like we have a lot of momentum going right now, right? Whether that is business or you know, or some folks just kind of coming in and wanting to make an impact. So I just think it is more continuing the momentum. I think from the business side, it feels like we're on the cusp of kind of becoming one of these, you know, hotbeds in terms of innovation. You know, I focus on healthcare. So a lot of activity here in terms of that. And I know you guys hit on kind of the, I'll say, private equity side of the house, right? And so I think a lot of that is just the growth. And so I think it's more, I guess, in my mind, not so much preventing, but again, kind of connecting all the people that want to have an impact and supporting each other, supporting that growth, because there's a lot of exciting things happening. And so I think that's probably where at least I feel like I can come in and have an impact, is just really connecting people and continuing the momentum, continuing to make those introductions, support each other as we have events, whether it's virtual still or the in-person stuff, getting out there and, like I said, keep things moving.
Yeah, that's awesome. What does connecting people look like for you right now? Like, where do you see silos of things happening where people need to like come together and learn about each other so that they can work together?
Yeah, totally. No, I think if I start sort of, I'll say in the younger end of the spectrum for me in the professional realm, I do a lot of stuff at TCU. And so I think some of that is just your young professionals and continuing to find opportunities for them to stay here, right, in Fort Worth and Tarrant County. I think that's huge. So there's also a young professional kind of event earlier this past week that I was at, and it's just awesome to see a lot of this kind of innovation and thought and people getting out there. And EJ, I know you're in schools a lot, right? And so we did this ACAP program, not to go off on a tangent, but I think TCU feels like they're doing a lot, and the other universities support that. So I think that's huge. And then Leadership Fort Worth, in my mind, is sort of where you have a lot of folks and certain levels of decision-making capabilities, right? And so continuing that focus, whether it's the DEI or whether it's continuing to kind of keep things in Fort Worth, keep growth going, I think that's something. And then board build is, again, my other kind of role there. And I don't know if you're familiar with that, but that's a lot of exciting things in terms of just focus on nonprofits, but it's finding people. And there's a training aspect of it. We like to talk about it sort of like LinkedIn meets Match.com. And so there's a training aspect of it to find people and train them on how properly serve a board role for a nonprofit. And then it's free for nonprofits, and it's out of Fort Worth, but there's a national aspect of it. But what that does in my mind, it gets, people to the table, right? The decision makers is key to me, getting those right people that are going to be able to make those decisions that are going to have an impact. So again, to answer your question, Jim, I think that's, in my mind, the connections is a lot of that. It's like finding people that want to make a change, want to have an impact, and trying to find opportunities and open doors for them.
Yeah, you seem someone who's super busy, super connected, and awesome that you listen to the pod. What did the pod bring you that, I mean, being on boards, being in meetings, being in Leadership Fort Worth, what did the pod bring to you that kept you kind of, hey, I want to stay on the pulse? These guys at least bring something to my day to keep listening.
No, to keep it simple, I feel like you guys are like my buddies, man. It's just awesome. Like, especially in that time in terms of the pandemic, right? It's like that coffee shop stuff where it's like, let's go meet every, Monday morning and let's have some coffee and let's talk about what's going on. So I think that is kind of my feeling, and it was always very relevant. And I love that you guys, it's on Fort Worth, right? But it's a super broad range of topics. So all the stuff you're hitting feels really relevant, but it doesn't get boring because you guys keep it fresh with kind of different focus area, whether it's kind of profiles of people, the news, when politics makes sense, right? That's where we go. And so for me too, the other thing, we're kind of not, the days are gone where everybody gets the same paper in the morning or read, listen to the same newscast, right? And then you go talk about it the next day. But with you guys, I was able to kind of, flip the podcast to people. And so the folks that wanted to be engaged, wanted to be informed, they were listening to that. And then you have that kind of anchor to talk about that next week and stuff like that. So I think there's, broad range of kind of reasons why, but I think that's what keeps it relevant for me and keeps me coming back and keeps me sharing the pod, is just because it is, like I said, it's different, right? Everybody, your Netflix looks different for everybody. It's kind of wild when you think about the information we're getting. So it's almost like just having that anchor, whether it's discussion topics, things like that. So
awesome. Well, Anthony, hey, I appreciate you giving us 10 minutes before you go to a baptismal, get baptized, or give the baptism, whatever part you're involved in there. Good luck, and hopefully we see each other soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. I'm excited to hear this, and I'm sure you got a lot of fun people talking about everything. So, like I said, thumbs up, man. Keep it up. Everybody appreciates it. So, great work.
Thanks. Great to meet you.
You get a.
Yeah, that was the primary objective. That was my goal. So, my week is set.
Yeah.
Love it, brother.
Awesome, guys.
Be good.
Have a good
Thanks,
one.
guys. Have a great one.
Follow us like double tap. Now they control your life, control your life.